Hello and welcome to You Think. Let's take a trip back in time, over 10,000 years to the Ice Age. This was a world of giants where massive creatures like woolly mammoths and saber-toothed cats roamed the earth. Today we're diving into the story of an incredible predator, the dire wolf. These ancient beasts were bigger and stronger than any wolf we know today, ruling the wilds of North America. Scientists have been fascinated by them for years, and recently they've made a breakthrough that's bringing dire wolves back into the spotlight. Let's explore their history, the science behind this discovery, and the flip side of what it all means. First, let's get to know the dire wolf. Picture a wolf, but bigger and tougher, way tougher. Dire wolves weighed up to 150 pounds, that's about 68 kilograms, making them heavier than most modern grey wolves, even if they were about the same length. They had broader heads, massive jaws, and teeth built to crush bone. Their scientific name, Inocyon dirus, means terrible wolf, and they earned it. Fossils show they lived in North America for over 100,000 years, from what's now Canada down to Bolivia. They thrived in all kinds of places, grasslands, woodlands, even tropical wetlands, hunting in packs and taking down huge prey. One of the best places to learn about dire wolves is the La Brea tar pits in Los Angeles, California. This spot is like a window into the Ice Age. Over 4,000 dire wolf fossils have been found there, more than any other animal. Here's how it worked. The tar pits were a natural trap. Big animals like bison or horses would get stuck in the sticky tar, and dire wolves would come to feast only to get trapped themselves. It's a goldmine for scientists, showing us what these wolves ate. Tests on their bones reveal their favorite prey was the extinct western horse, but they also hunted bison, camels and ground sloths, sometimes even baby mammoths if they got the chance. Dire wolves were pack hunters, just like modern wolves, and they were built for the job. Fossils from La Brea show signs of teamwork, males and females raising pups together and taking down massive prey. Their jaws were incredible. Their teeth were larger and stronger than any wolf today, with a bite force that could shatter bone. Some fossils even show broken teeth, which tells us they didn't mess around. They'd chew on tough carcasses or compete with other predators like saber-toothed cats for a meal. These wolves were survivors in a world of giants, sharing the landscape with woolly mammoths, giant bears, and even early humans. Let's dig a bit deeper into their pack life. Dire wolf fossils often show healed injuries, like broken bones that mended over time. That's a big clue they lived in groups because, well, a lone wolf with a broken leg wouldn't survive long on its own. In a pack, other wolves could bring food or protect an injured member until they healed. It's similar to how modern wolves work together. Alpha pairs lead the group, while others help hunt and care for pups. Dire wolves likely had a similar setup, working as a tight-knit team to take down prey much bigger than themselves, like a 2,000-pound bison. That kind of teamwork is what made them so successful for over 100,000 years. But around 10,000 years ago, the dire wolves disappeared. The Ice Age was ending, and the world was warming up. The giant animals they hunted, like horses and ground sloths, started to go extinct, likely due to climate change and early human hunting. Without their main prey, dire wolves couldn't survive. Smaller, more adaptable predators, like the grey wolf, took over instead. Fossils show dire wolves vanished during this huge extinction event, along with many other Ice Age giants. It's a reminder of how connected ecosystems are. What happens to one species can change everything. If the prey disappears, the predators can't last long either. Here's something fascinating. Dire wolves weren't as closely related to modern wolves as you might think. For years, scientists thought they shared a close ancestor with grey wolves, but new research tells a different story. By studying their bones, experts found that dire wolves evolved separately in the Americas, splitting from other canids about 5 million years ago. Their wolf-like traits might be due to convergent evolution, where two species develop similar features because they live similar lives, not because they're related. It's like how dolphins and sharks, although they're completely different animals, both have fins for swimming. Now let's talk about an incredible breakthrough. Scientists have recently taken a huge step in studying dire wolves by extracting their DNA. A company called Colossal Biosciences managed to pull ancient DNA from dire wolf fossils, including a 13,000-year-old tooth from Ohio and a 72,000-year-old inner ear bone from Idaho. They used this DNA to learn more about dire wolves, comparing it to the DNA of modern grey wolves. And here's where it gets really exciting. They didn't stop there. They actually used that DNA to create living pups with dire wolf traits. In late 2024 and early 2025, Colossal Biosciences announced the birth of 3 pups named Romulus, Remus and Khaleesi. Here's how they did it. They took the genome of a modern grey wolf, which is about 99.5% similar to a dire wolf's, and made 20 specific edits to 14 genes using a technology called CRISPR. These edits focused on traits like body size, skull shape and fur colour, aiming to bring out dire wolf characteristics. Then they implanted the modified embryos into surrogate dog mothers, and the pups were born. Romulus and Remus arrived in October 2024, and Khaleesi followed in January 2025. These pups have striking white fur, larger bodies and other features that make them look more like dire wolves than typical grey wolves. It's an amazing achievement in genetic science. These pups are now living in a 2,000-acre ecological preserve in the United States, where they're cared for by a team of experts. Scientists are studying them to learn more about dire wolves, like how their traits might have helped them survive in the Ice Age. This kind of science isn't just about the past, it can help us understand modern wolves too. For example, by studying these pups, researchers might learn how wolves adapt to tough environments, which could help protect endangered species like the red wolf today. It's a way to connect the past to the present, showing us how science can bring history to life. But here's the flip side. Not everyone agrees that these pups are true dire wolves. Some scientists argue they're just genetically modified grey wolves. Even with those 20 gene edits, there are still millions of DNA differences between these pups and an actual dire wolf from the Ice Age. The ancient DNA scientists extracted was fragmented and incomplete, so they couldn't recreate a dire wolf exactly. They could only make a grey wolf that looks and acts more like one. Plus, we don't know how these pups will behave as they grow up, or how they'd fit into modern ecosystems. It's a reminder that science is a work in progress, and there's still a lot we don't know about bringing the past back to life. Let's zoom out and think about what dire wolves can teach us today. Their story is a window into how ecosystems work. Every animal, from the smallest prey to the biggest predator, plays a role. When the Ice Age ended, the loss of giant prey like horses and sloths triggered a chain reaction that led to the dire wolf's extinction. That's a lesson for us now. Protecting ecosystems means protecting all the pieces, not just the ones we see. Studying dire wolves also shows us how science can uncover the past. Fossils and DNA are like time machines, helping us travel back to a world we'll never see. And now with these new pups, we're getting an even closer look at what dire wolves might have been like. Here's one more cool thing. Dire wolves have left a mark on our culture too. If you've ever watched a show like Game of Thrones, you might recognize their name. Those fictional dire wolves were inspired by the real ones. Of course, the real dire wolves didn't grow as big as the ones in the show, and they didn't have magical powers, but they were still pretty awe-inspiring. From fossils to fantasy, dire wolves remind us how the past can spark our imagination today. It's a fun way to see how science and storytelling can come together to bring history to life. So, why does all this matter? Dire wolves show us how life on Earth is always changing. They were perfectly adapted to their world until that world changed. Their story teaches us about ecosystems, evolution, and the power of science to uncover the past. The birth of Romulus, Remus, and Khaleesi is a big step forward. It shows us what's possible when we combine ancient DNA with modern technology. But it also reminds us to be curious and keep asking questions because there's still so much to learn. Dire wolves might be gone, but their legacy lives on in every fossil, every DNA fragment, and every story we tell. Dire wolves were Ice Age legends, and science is helping us uncover their secrets, even if there's still a lot to figure out. Thank you for watching. If you valued the time you invested here today, subscribe and hit the bell icon to get more similar content from You Think.